Hi and welcome. We are going to speak both about gate 12 and gate 15 today. So looking at gate 12, this is Daniel Holman, and we felt that it had to do with the purity of the heart when we were creating the archetypes and looking at the 12 from that perspective. So the 12 is the archetype that we call the prophet. It's in transit from June 14th to June 18th. It's the gate of caution. It's the hexagram in the I Ching that's called the standstill. And in the gene keys, the frequency band that goes from the shadow of vanity to the city of purity. And the human pathway here is discrimination. So we are going to speak both about 12 and 15 because they are one after each other. So we are going to have a shift in what we have on the bottom hexagram when it comes to 12 and the 15. Because what you can see in the wheel is that there's 8 different elements and they are based on the trigrams. So when we are looking at the 12, we have the earth trigram on the bottom. When we're looking at the 15, we're going to have the mountain trigram on the bottom. So here you have the other archetypes that are also having the earth trigram on the bottom. And here we're looking at 12, where we have creative heaven over receptive earth. Looking at those elemental energies, when we have heaven over heaven, that's the same thing as hexagram 1. When we have earth over earth, that's the same thing as hexagram 2. So we could say that the 12 is made up of those elemental energies of earth and heaven, or of 1 and 2. So the shadow of vanity is the entropy of dislocation. Discrimination is fresh orientation, and purity is the beauty of unity. Here we're looking at those gates in an astrological sense. So we have the 12 and partly the 15 being in Gemini, which is mutable air. Gemini is the inquisitive air, the wind above and below that tickles our imagination. The archetypes that Gemini stand for is the trickster, the magician, the bard, the jetser, for example, and its service through spirit, through the intellectual pursuit of truth and eternal youth. And it's connected because it's the third sign. It's also connected to the third house in modern astrology. And we have the ruler being Mercury. It has to do with siblings. It has to do with short travels. It has to do with learning, but more kind of elemental learning than the kind of philosophical university far way out learning, which we will find more on the other side in Sagittarius. And in the programming partners, the 12 is on the other side of the 11, and that's the Sagittarius gate. So we have Gemini on one side and then Sagittarius on the other side of the wheel. We also have mirror opposites. So if we have heaven and earth in the 12, in this case, it's not always like that, but in these two, we have the same trigrams, but they are opposite. So you can see it's even more a play here of the 1 and the 2 of earth and heaven, and also that being inside of the program partners. So we are in the part of the wheel that we call the quarter of civilization, where the purpose is fulfilled through form. So for all these gates, if you have them as your sun gate, especially, you probably like when things are tangible and you can feel them. And it's about manifesting in a tangible sense. So the 12 lives in the throat center. It is about communication, expression, and manifestation. This is a gate of caution. So it's before it's acting from that manifestation center, because when the manifestation center is connected to a motor, right, we have that manifesting channel. It is here to act, but it's acting with caution. So those are all the gates that live in the throat center. And here we are looking at the 22. So this is the channel of openness. It's individual circuitry. This is the design of a social being. Your life is a life of passion and following your feelings. Your lesson is to wait before you act or speak. The more patient you are, the clearer your emotions and the more powerful your influence. The Prophet 12 has the keywords intent, articulation, and influence. And the 22, which we call grace or the invitation, is about expression, acceptance, and openness. When we look at the whole entire manifested channel, 1222, the keywords are possession, which is a combination of vanity and dishonor. The gift frequency is passion, which is discrimination and graciousness. And then the highest frequency is pure grace, which comes, of course, from purity and grace. So this comes from integral human design, and it's a way of looking at not only the gates, gene keys, but any part of the body graph has a frequency band, which can be expressed in a low frequency or a high frequency. And like I mentioned right before, this is individual circuitry, where the key word is individual empowerment. And it's coming from the mutation channel 63. So it's a pulse, it's a mutation, and it's an inner knowing, like a hearing the truth from the inside, we could say. So let's make a little jump and also say that because we're already in line 5, in just a couple of days, we're going to move into gate 15. And the gate 15 is the gate of modesty and extremes. That sounds kind of weird, right? Modesty and extremes. Well, the 15 is all about being yourself. Even if it's collective circuitry, it's all about being yourself. That could look modest or that could look extreme. It doesn't really matter. It's about you loving yourself, connected to the programming partner 10, you loving yourself so much that you can behave and be like yourself. And then your aura is going to be this loving aura, this magnetic aura that you love to be on earth. You love humanity as a part of that organism. So you're showing your uniqueness, you're going to show your diversity. And also, when you love yourself, I don't know if I would necessarily use the word compassion, but it's an aura of love. The 15 is the aura. So it's you are bringing to the world an aura of love, and that is going to influence the world so that other people are also going to feel that love in themselves. And when we are in those gates that are on the cusp between two different astrological signs, we have an enormous diversity. So in the 15, we're going to have Gemini and Cancer, which means that we're also going to have a mix of mutable energy and cardinal energy, because that comes with the sign. And then there's going to be two different elements. Gemini is air and Cancer is water. So just there we see how versatile this is. And I wanted to also bring in, because I think we need to be reminded every week of this as we're moving towards 2027, as so many planets are shifting signs into new signs of the outer planets, we are changing timelines completely. So when we look at the 15, we call the 15 the patterns. And that is one of the locks that is being unlocked all the time through the global cycles. So we have different keys that are unlocking the same gates, which are the gates of the G center. So we have been using the cross of planning to unlock the cross of the vessel of love, where the 16 has been the gate that was unlocking the 15, which is, okay, how can I unlock the pattern or anything you know about the 15? How does that being unlocked? Well, in the last 400 years, it was unlocked by the versatility of gate 16, or the being able to identify with something, or the Gemini energy, however you want to think about archetype gate 16, that's what's been unlocking this 15, this aura of love, of magnetism, of fluorescence. So one way of saying it could be that in the era we are in still at the very end, and for the last 400 years, my versatility makes me magnetic. I mastered the love of humanity. That could be a way of saying that the 16 unlocks the 15. Well, we are changing. So the main cross, which is still going to be the cross of the vessel of love, is going to be unlocked by the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So suddenly we're going to have different gates. So on the inside, you see the new keys. The locks are on the outside, the old keys are here, and then on the very inside, we have the new keys. So the new key to unlock the 15 is the 20. That is the best ally for the 15 to be unlocked starting in 2027, but we're very much on the cusp of that. So as you've probably heard, is that we are going to go into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, where the keys are the 55, the 59, the 34, and the 20. And it happens to be so that the 20 is the one that unlocks our 15. So one way of saying that could be my self-assurance make me magnetic, or my beingness allows me to flourish. You can play with the keywords however you want, but the 20 is going to unlock the 15.